It started as a dream. Dozens applied, but only 10 were chosen. Every voice was powerful, but only one walked away as the winner. VoiceQuest Live is where voices become unforgettable. VoiceQuest Live!
Wow. I have a little bit of turbulence going on with my jumpsuit right now. I've gone through some personal growth these last few years, and I am sucked so tight in my Spanx right now. It is like a Pillsbury biscuit can, my stomach, because the moment I go to unzip my jumpsuit, my stomach is just like that. So we're gonna try and get through the night. Okay, are you guys ready? Are you ready? I am so excited to not only announce our first speaker of the night, but also the first speaker ever in the history of VoiceQuest Live. So, can I have come to the stage Jess Salzenstein? Jeff. Congratulations.
Or yet, you mispronounced my name.
Did I? After all that? I told him that was like
the reason I said it is because, well, tennis umpires used to mispronounce it all the time too, so you're not alone.
Okay, I apologize.
Salzenstein.
Steed!
Rhymes with bean.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to start and go
Okay, we can
slink
start.
off.
I still love
I've been
you.
publicly humiliated.
I still love you.
Just kidding.
This is the biggest moment of my tennis career, and I mess up because of a simple smile. In my first year on the pro tennis tour, I'm playing a second round US Open night match against world number 2, Michael Chang, in front of 24,000 people and millions watching on TV. One of my tennis idols, the bad boy of tennis, John McEnroe, announcing the match for USA Network. And I'm wearing Johnny Mac's vintage Nike Air Attack sneakers in his honor. So if I blurt out a profanity, it's not me, it's the shoes. Somehow, despite the nerves, I get it to 2-all in the first set when I take my first deep breath. Dropping into the present moment, I enter a zone. And for the next 15 minutes, I'm kicking Michael Chang's ass. Let's go. Now the score is 5-4, and I'm 1 point away from winning the first set. I hit a wide slice serve. I dash to the net. I hit a beautiful backhand volley to the open court that Chang can't reach. I win the point and the first set. The crowd goes crazy. That's the biggest moment of my career. And I smile. That's also the exact moment that I lose the match. Why? Because the dominant thought in my head was, Jeff, thank God you didn't embarrass yourself tonight. I couldn't overcome my limiting thoughts and beliefs. I couldn't overcome the waves of pressure, stress, and anxiety coursing through my body and my mind. I couldn't own my zone for the rest of the match. I lost the next 3 sets and the match to the number 2 player in the world. It was the loss to Michael Chang where I couldn't handle the pressure and I didn't believe in myself. And then the 2 career-threatening injuries to my ankle and knee that almost ended my career. Lying awake at night, anxious, scared, unsettled, questioning if I'd ever play again and what I really wanted with my career and with my life. And it wasn't just playing professional tennis, the pressure of pro tennis that tested me. Watching my younger brother, Eric, battle addiction and mental health challenges gave me a raw and firsthand perspective of what high achievers go through and what they struggle with when it comes to burnout, overwhelm, and stress, and how it sabotages our performance and well-being. Let me ask you, have you felt stressed out and burned out the last few years at times? See a few nods. What about right now? You're not alone. Studies show that 55% of high performers experience high or extreme levels of stress. And when I share that with audiences, they shake their head and tell me it's more like 95%. Roughly 62% of this stress is related to work. All this stress and struggle puts a glass ceiling on our performance and results. That's why it's essential to have stress reduction and resilience building fundamentals in place. The same fundamentals that pro athletes and performers use to thrive under pressure. Here are the 3 pro fundamentals guaranteed to expand your physical, mental, and emotional capacity to handle pressure and stress. Number 1, to optimize the body. Sleep deep. The most important part of the day is the night. Optimal rest and recovery is the foundation to achieve our performance goals. Number 2, to optimize the mind. Win with words and our thoughts. Remove negativity and complaining. And number 3, to optimize the soul. Sync the heart. Make a heart-brain connection to consistently self-regulate emotions like anger, fear, frustration, and worry that drain our energy. These pro fundamentals are guaranteed to help you own your zone. The Own Your Zone framework allows us to build resilience and optimize performance and well-being. This is how we take care of ourselves and inspire others to do the same. How we expand our capacity to handle stress and create lasting longevity. How we own our zone and unlock excellence and win big in life. Thank you.
Great job. You can hang on to that just for now because we're going to turn to our judges.
Okay, thank you.
How did Jeff own his zone?
Did you just raise your eyebrows at me and throw me under the bus? I'm the first ever judge to give feedback on VoiceQuest. Okay. Jeff, we only have a few seconds each to share our feedback, and I understand from my point of view how hard it is to take what is clearly a very long, more like a 45, 1 hour into 6 minutes. I get how hard it is. If I'm going to give any feedback to you that everybody else can take away as well, that like to be corporate speakers and get paid for it, is making sure that we take actions away, that we know exactly how to do it. And I know you didn't have time to take us through those 4 things and how we would do those things, but I can see the potential there. So thank you.
How many times have you shared this story?
I do this.
A lot, right?
Yeah, so last couple of years I've been developing, yeah.
So one of the things that is interesting about remembering something, it's like your voice follows the memory. The voice follows being where you were when you're saying what you said. One of the things that I was listening for, because you had this dynamic of that moment on the tennis field. And what I was hoping for was for you to draw us into the memory and relive it, and us watch you relive it. Because it's almost like the audience disappears, we all disappear, you're on the tennis court's virtual reality. And so the story very compelling and powerful because sports stories do very well in these environments, right? Because there's something that you've done that most corporate people don't do. And that is deal with the back and forth of athleticism and the rigor and all of those things. I want you to be okay with revisiting that memory fully Because it's even as you told the story, there was a difficulty of like, I didn't even want to be here in that moment. Make us feel that with you. And tell that story and continue to do so.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the things I am always looking for is sort of that big idea, that perspective of like getting us to think about something or feeling as if, to your point, that we're there with you in the moment. And one of the things I really loved, and this is slightly different than Marshall, but I really felt like, and maybe this is because I have an elite athlete as a son, but I felt the tension and that gut punch of, oh, it was the smile. Like something that's so innocuous, like something that actually you're supposed to do, be the thing that was like the downfall. And I really love that. It really got me thinking about, what is the pressure and the tension that elite athletes, high performers really feel. And I just encourage you to keep digging into that, because I think there is some unique perspective that you can really bring, and I want to see that come out in a really bold and authentic way.
Thank you.
Hey, look, man, you crushed it. You did great. You crushed it. You're clearly a professional speaker. The story was amazing. I played college tennis, and so right out of the gate, I'm like, no for real? Oh my God, you was out there with Michael Chang? Nuh-uh. That's amazing. I'm gonna go and Google your highest ranking and all that stuff. Anyway, yeah. Look, for 6 minutes, I probably wouldn't do the bullet points. I would go from story. You arrive at the problem, and then give me one solution and takeaway that ties back to the original story. Sure. So that's probably how I would have done it if I was you up there. But you crushed it, man. You crushed it.
Great job. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Never easy being number one. So very impressive. Okay, are you guys ready for the next one? I wish I had a drum roll, but I don't. Oh, I do. Okay, it is Jessica Meiris.
When was the last time you did something that truly scared you? The kind of fear that pops up when you're about to start something big and your brain says, are you sure you want to do this? Because we could just nap instead. That's the power of fear. Sometimes all it takes is a small suggestion to push you away from your goals, because fear's goal is to keep you safe, but it also keeps you small. Tonight, I want to share with you the power of V's. Vision of a daunting goal, the vulnerability to accept help from others, and stand strong in the face of doubt, and voice, sharing your truth. In 2014, my vision was to break a world record. My sport was rock climbing, and my arena was an enormous chunk of granite called El Capitan in Yosemite National Park, California. This vertical wall was 3,000 feet high, and it usually takes 3 to 5 days to climb it, with about 2 to 3 people. I became the first woman in history to climb it in 27 hours alone, shattering the previous record by 4 days. Sounds impressive, right? Well, here's the thing. When most people hear that, they assume I'm some kind of thrill-seeking prodigy athlete. I'll save you the suspense. I'm not. In fact, on the contrary, this goal was absolutely terrifying for me, and leagues above anything that I had attempted before. It was too big, too overwhelming. And in order to not have my brain short out, I needed to break it down into smaller chunks. So I spent about 6 months training my body and mind, and used smaller goals for the endurance, the power, and the technical skills, literally learning the ropes of this very specific type of climbing. And before I climbed, I went to Yosemite Valley and did some rehearsals. So up and down on the wall, and broke those climbs down into smaller rehearsal climbs. And while I was there, I realized that I had overtrained. I was technically and physically very prepared, but my real hang-up was my own self-doubt. And what I want to share with you is how I overcame that self-doubt. It was too much for my brain to really comprehend, and that was my biggest mental hang-up. So what I did instead is start sharing. And I shared vulnerably with people in my life, my friends and family, and that's that second V. And when I shared openly about my hot mess of trepidation and self-doubt, it invited them to see me as authentically human and all of my deepest vulnerabilities, and it allowed their loving help and support to lift me upwards and be successful. It also invited them into my climb to share in the accomplishment, and that made it much, much sweeter for me. So after that, I decided to take on other lofty goals as well. And I became one of the very few female helicopter pilots in the world. Applying these same principles, I had this vision of a very insurmountable goal. I had no background in aviation, no connection to the military, didn't have friends or family who was a pilot or anything of the sort. And that's pretty rare in aviation. And I still grappled with this same self-doubt. Do I really belong here? By the way, is it time for that nap yet? So not only did I grapple with my process of becoming a pilot, but also another woman came behind and broke my record in Yosemite. So I went back to Yosemite and I wanted to reclaim my title, but it felt really empty and inauthentic just to chase somebody else's number. I wanted to better myself. I wanted to contribute. I wanted to stand for a greater purpose. My first climb actually raised funds for a nonprofit that I had helped to start, and that made a tremendous impact for me and gave my climb a greater purpose. So I chose to not make another attempt. And I started to really struggle with the thought of, am I enough? Is what I had done enough? And as I grappled with those questions, I went through the process of becoming a pilot, that same conversation showed up again. Am I enough? Do I belong here? And ultimately, I realized that being enough doesn't have anything to do with your accomplishments or what people think of you. Being enough has to come from within, a sense of integrity and a sense of wholeness. So I used vision, vulnerability, and voice, sharing my truth, to accomplish big goals, overcome fear and self-doubt, and invite people in my life to share in that. I get this amazing opportunity to share with you and allow my voice to give greater purpose in the audience. I hope those 3 V's will inspire you to take on your most daunting goals as well. Thank you.
I'll have you stay up here with the microphone. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you did that. I hurt myself just climbing into bed at night. So, judges, do you have anything to help elevate her speaking?
Great job. Come on, one more round of applause. Yeah. Well done, well done. You're extraordinary. You have an extraordinary story, and it's super inspiring. I think one note I would say is, give us a little more vocal variation. So I want to hear in the pitch of your voice that you're excited up here, and then when you're about to bring us to a moment and a point, then you can slow it down a bit, drop the pitch of your voice a little bit, and that's going to draw us in further. When in those moments, if you just give us a pause, right, then we have the opportunity to feel. And because your story is so extraordinary, I wanted that space to feel a little bit more. But amazing, amazing. Great job.
Thank you.
Well, as a fellow rock climber, I get the significance of what you did. I'm like totally in awe.
Your whole family of rock
Yeah,
climbers.
a whole family of rock climbers. So truly, I agree with Cesar. So extraordinary, and not just that, but the whole helicopter pilot piece is just really amazing. And I guess my one piece of advice is I actually wanted to see you plant your feet and hold us with you in the tension of that story. I was like watching you, like some of that is just sort of like nervous energy, but I really wanted you to plant your feet and like allow us to lean in and be in this with you, as opposed to being a bystander in that process.
Got it. Thanks.
Some of this will sound the same. The extraordinary aspect of what you've done, it's so easy because you've done it, and a lot of times we were like, yeah, we did the thing, and it's like, you should be telling this story. I've already conquered it. Bringing us into the magnanimity of climbing, like 3,000 feet.
It's freaking huge, yeah.
Exactly, you see, right? And you hear that, right? And also leaning into the quirk of your humor. Because like you had moments and pockets where you're like, it's time for that nap, like, and you were okay with being in that. And so give us that space. Let us look at the mountain, let us look at the sky and hear how vast that is and how you are moving through it and made the choices to move through it.
Thank you.
Again, to avoid repetition, you've had people tell you about voice, about body language, about taking us on the story with you. You have an incredible story. I think it's brilliant that you've succinctly put that into your acronyms of your 3 Vs. So absolutely run with that as well. Again, slow it down and let those land, because as soon as you're running to the second V, I'm like, I'm trying to remember the first V. The one other note that I would say is, because your story is incredible, and just as Marshall is saying, is because you're kind of almost being self-deprecating, going, oh, it was only that. It felt like you kept the story on the stage with you. Lean into us. And it is about voice and body language and the storytelling, but lean into us. Bring us onto the stage with you.
So can I ask more about
You
that?
certainly can.
Okay. When you say that, do you mean that when I said the thing about, oh, it sounds impressive, but it's really not? So is that what you're getting at?
Yes, and, right? So yes, and it's in the tone and the variation and the pausing and allowing us to feel the enormity of what you just said. And so if you do all those 3 things, you'll bring us onto stage with you.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.